Alright, so I'm just going to look at this walk and just make some comments and stuff. So, right off the bat, I would say it's relatively smooth. Obviously, I think there's some limitations because of the rigging. You might be able to, I mean, you can just see, like, right here, obviously, like, that's a little bit weird looking. But that has to do more with, like, weight painting and things like that. So, yeah. I guess I'm just going to start from the feet maybe and work my way down. I mean, the biggest thing I would say that right off the bat is the head up and down, actually. I'll start broad and then work more specific. So if you look, you see how your head's kind of going back and forth like that? There might be a little bit of that, but that's quite a bit of wobble. The other thing is, too, if we look at it from this point of view, you could see it's going to the right and kind of back, which is a little asymmetrical and a bit odd. So, and the other thing is, too, because he's going back and forth, and it's just one back and forth, it should be either like he's going forward on this one, and then he would be going forward on this one. See what I'm saying? Like, it should be the same on both of these. They're both opposing ones. So it makes it look like he's favoring one leg over the other, if that makes sense. So I would just say that there's a little bit of asymmetry between the two of those. So he leans with one foot but not the other. So it's just it makes it seem like one of his feet are hurting or something like that, in the most broad sense. That was like the first thing that I really kind of noticed was that. I guess I will just work with the legs up. All right, so so looking at these all look pretty good. I would say, let me see what your rig has built into it. Okay, so we have peel heel. Let me see. All right, and heel tip. Okay, and foot down. Okay. So your character doesn't really have it built into it, but I would say usually I will add a little bit of a toe up. The reason being is that if you see someone step, especially if they're barefoot, I watch people walk a lot. You'll notice that they will do heel ball toe. So right here, when you have the foot come down, what I would do is have this actually over one. Okay, and then let me see. Actually, let's put that back there. So have that there, but then go over one. Let me see something. No, actually, sorry, put that back there. And then we'll go back one over. And then here, you can do this peel heel. What you do is you do a little bit of it, like that, but you rotate this. I mean, this is the only way to kind of do it with this rig because of the way that it's built. And you kind of go down, key that. We'd have to do it here too. So you do a little bit of the peel heel like, and then rotate it down. Oh, I forgot to animate it. I forgot to hit key. A little bit of the peel heel, rotate it down, and hit S. Oh. And then let me see, and then maybe right here, put this back to 0, and actually rotate this down, like so. Make sure you key it. You see what I'm saying? So that way you would have the toe hit afterwards. It's not anything super grandiose, but it just adds a little bit, a little more accuracy. But you'd have the toe happen a little bit later. That kind of a thing. But you do have a nice peel heel here. That works pretty good. You can see right here, again, what I would do is as soon as his foot comes off, so you're going to want to, like, say hit key here just to make sure it stays there. And then at 3, take that peel heel off and then manually rotate it, or however you're doing it. I don't know. I see that you're using that heel tip there, like that. So that way he comes off of it, if that makes sense. Because otherwise what happens, you might notice it with this foot, as he's walking, it looks kind of weird that it's still bent as he's coming up. And it's subtle. See what I'm saying? But now here, it's a little bit snappier on his back right leg. It's a little bit snappier, doesn't do that as much. Okay, so those are a couple of things. But I would say that's pretty good. So you're doing a male, so that makes a bit of difference too. With men, you will typically find that their gaits will be a little bit farther out, so that's good. If you're doing a female, you do a little bit more when this foot would come forward. Let's get it to forward. When it comes down, you'd actually want to go in a little bit, and you could actually even pigeon toe it a little bit. Okay, but if you do a male, you actually would go out a little bit, typically. But anyway, that's another thing there. Let's see. Okay, and then this looks like you have this pretty good. At least the up and down is correct. Let me see. Let's see. So you got, and you come down, and then you have your high. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you have your high here. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yep. So high and then down. Yeah, so that's good. So your up and down is pretty good on this, and it's consistent, and that works pretty good. So that's good. Let's see here. Okay, so what I would say, though, is you're lacking other things. So you only do the up and down. Oh, no, you do have sideways here. Okay. Never mind. All right. Yeah. That's okay. I feel like this one could be a little bit, maybe it's not so bad. Yeah. Okay, so you are going sideways. And, okay. So the one thing you are missing is this. So do you have a hips override? Is there a, let me see something. No, there's not. Okay. So the other thing you'd want to do besides that is when the leg is coming over in the passing position, so in your case here at 7, the weight would be on this leg. Thusly, as this leg's getting pulled up, the hips will be pulled down towards it, kind of like that. Okay. Now, if you're doing a female, it's much more exaggerated. On a male, it wouldn't be quite as much. So you push it down a little bit, and we move it over a little bit. Okay, like that, and then we'll just key it. Okay, like that. And then you do the opposite on your passing position here. Push it this way a little bit, and rotate it a little bit. Okay, like that. And so you're going to notice that it's kind of wobbling. The reason for that is because we have keys in the other one. So I'm going to go to the graph editor here. And stretch this out, and I'll hit F to frame it. And, that's not what I wanted to do. Get out of there. Snapping's nice, but it's kind of annoying. Let's see. There we go. We'll do it this way. Okay. Alright. So, let's hit W. So it's my X. So I'm going to go to my translate X, and we'll hit F to frame it. And you can see how there's these extra keys here that aren't benefiting me. So delete that one, and I will delete this one, and this one, and this one. Now, the other thing you're going to notice is this. So it goes up, down, but notice that it flattens here when it's supposed to keep going up. So you want to do, I'm going to take this one and this one, and I'm going to make them linear. So now you can see that it's going up, and that should be more correct. Let me undo that, and I want to show you something. So if I go to curves, and we'll do post infinity, and I will do cycle. Hang on a second. Post pre-infinity cycle. Where are you? Why am I not seeing it? It should show it. Curves, post infinity. Huh, I'm not seeing. It should show me. Might be on a different thing. Hang on a second. View. Why am I not? Keys. Infinity. Here we go. So view, infinity. And then what happens is it will show me the keys. Now see how these are flattened? So see how it makes a weird little bump? When really they should be linearly going up. So that's why you want to take this one, and you want to take this one like I did before, and you make them linear. Now you might want to go a little bit farther with it, and you hold the middle mouse button. I'm just going to middle mouse button, click and drag that. I'm going to grab this one and pull that one up a little bit. And now that's a nicer looking curve. So you can see that it's nice and even all the way through. There's not that extra bump, okay? Now that I only did for the left and right. I also need to do it for the rotate. I'm going to hit E, and it is on the Z. So rotate Z and hit F. And this is actually creating more of the bump. See how there's a bunch of these keys that aren't rotated like that? So I'm just delete these extra ones. Okay. And we run into the same thing again. So I'm going to go to View and, oh, it says I have Infinity on. Why? Try it again. Infinity. Oh, maybe because I don't have the post-infinity cycle. There we go. All right. You just only have to do the one. I have to do both. Okay. But see how there's that little weird bump here? Okay. So same basic idea here. So I'm just going to take this one and this one, and we're going to make them linear. And you can see now it's a little bit better. And you might want to adjust it a little bit. It's not too bad, actually. And then I didn't do pre-infinity, but you can probably figure it out. Okay. And now if I hit play, oh, I hit backwards. Whoops. That space bar in here. Oh, crap. That's right. Actually, okay. But now if I hit play forward, you'll see that little bump is gone. But notice that the hips are going side to side, and it's swaying down a little bit more. So the side-to-side motion might be a little bit more than it should be. I'll show you a nice little trick with that too. So if we go over here and I go to the translate, which one? Oh, it was X, wasn't it? Yeah, translate X, and I'll hit F. What I can do is I can grab all the keys. I can hit R for scale, and then you hold the middle mouse. Ah, crap. I'm going to put my line right in here. I hold my middle mouse button, and what it does is it'll scale from whatever position you are. So watch, if I'm up here and I hold my middle mouse button, my middle mouse button, it'll scale it to that point. So I'm going to try and go halfway in between, which is right about here, on the middle mouse button, and go like this, and it'll kind of squish that, which in this case will make it have less sway back and forth. Okay? So it's a nice little, I don't know, it's a random thing. Okay. So you can see it's a little more natural. All right. Now, what we're going to want to do basically is compensate that with the upper here. Now you're at a little bit of a disadvantage because you only really have this one extra thing there, one controller. You don't have any in between ones. I'm going to do this too. I'm going to go to panels, and we're going to do layouts, and we're going to do 2 pane stacked, and the bottom one panels. Panel, and I'm going to do, where are you? Graph editor. That way I have the 2 here, and I can just tap spacebar. Okay, so this should be doing more or less the opposite of what this one is doing for the most part. Okay, so looks like you have some keys. So basically, on the passing position, I want to take this and rotate it to more or less try to make it straight, and you can even move it a little bit if that helps. Okay, and make sure we hit S. And then we're going to do the opposite here at 19. I'm going to move it a little bit this way, and I'm going to rotate it on this one a little bit and hit S. Maybe a little bit more. S. Okay. And that will just more or less kind of compensate. Now there's that other thing too of it going back and forth. So yeah. So on your X rotate is going like that. So I'm going to go to my rotate X, and we're going to hit F. And you can see it goes down, but it should go down, up, down, if that's what you want it to do. You have it just doing it the whole time. So, I'm just not a big fan of it, honestly. I would just take that all out. Now, that being said, you do react to, your down and up position. And what we'd want to do is more or less kind of offset it. Oh, you know the other thing we need to do on the passing position? Or actually not on the passing position, on these ones, we need to rotate it with the arms, like that. And I'm just going to, if you hold the middle mouse button, click and drag, it'll hold that frame, and I'll hit S again. And I'm going to go to 13, and I'm going to go like that, S. Okay, that way he swings side to side. Okay. A little bit better. All right, and I think I already did up and side to side, right? Yeah, okay. So, yeah. So the other thing, yeah. So the up and the back and forth, you can add a little bit of that. So what we'd want to do is obviously he's got his down position here-ish, right? So somewhere around this area. I would offset that. So I'm going to do it here, a little bit down, okay? Key it. And actually, when I'm hitting S, it's keying all the things, which I don't want it to do. I only want to key on just that X. So I'm going to go up here, and where it says rotate X, click on it, right click, and go key selected. It's only keying on that now. So that'll go down. And then I'm also going to do it again over here. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, click and drag, and then it would be 14, I guess it would be 18 here. And I'm going to right click and key select it, okay? Now, on the up position would be roughly around this area, but again, I'm going to offset it, and I'm going to rotate it up a little bit, like this. And we'll key selected, the middle mouse button here, and right click, key selected. Let's see. All right. Okay. Oops. Stop. Okay. So one thing I just did that you should never do is you do not want to have two keyframes right in a row like this, because what will end up happening is you get snapping. You always need to have at least two. So I'm going to click on this, hold shift, click and drag, right here too, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. And the other thing is too, that's on rotate X. So the other reason why that's happening is because, let's see. Oh, sorry, rotate X, F, and okay, I don't really like this one. I don't think that's helping much. And again, we're going to take this, and I'm going to make that one linear, and I'm going to take this one and make this one linear. And that should help a little bit. Tap spacebar, there you go. Okay. It's kind of a lot to me, but you get the idea. But notice that it's doing it twice now, because that's what it should be doing. Yeah, so same as before. I'm going to grab this whole thing. I'm going to hit R for scale. I'm going to try and find roughly where the middle is. I'm just going to squish this down because I did way too much on that. It's a little better. Okay. Alright, so now he looks like he's rocking the music. Woohoo. Okay. So, that's okay. Now, so we'll just go right up the spine here. Now, the head is more or less going to kind of do the opposite of what the shoulders are doing. So, I'm going to go here, and the head's going to try and stay straight. So I'm going to have it, I'm just going to compensate, literally just try to make it straight every time. So I'm going to rotate this way, hit S, and I'm going to middle mouse button, click drag to 25, S, and then we're going to go here, and I'm going to rotate in the opposite, hit S. Okay, so now you'll see that the head will basically be constantly trying to keep the body straight, and that looks okay. Now you could add a little bit of head bob and stuff like that, you know what I mean, to kind of do more or less what this is doing, and we can do that, I guess. So what we'll do is, let me see, so let me see, I think I did it there. So I'm going to have kind of an up here, and let me see, that's on the X, so we're going to rotate, key selected. Let me see. So that was one after. You know what? I'm not going to do it. I think it's just going to not look good. Okay. So then you have these shoulders, which don't really do too much. Oh, that's actually okay. So you don't have clavicles. You just have this shoulder controller. Okay. So for the most part, it looks like you just have it kind of keyed back and forth, and that mostly works. But let me show you a trick. Yep, okay. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to take this, I'm going to grab this guy, and this guy, and I'm going to get rid of your keys. Okay? And no, you know what? We'll leave them, actually. Okay. So this first one's fine. But here's the problem. So you bent this arm a little bit, and that's fine. That's definitely good. But what you'll notice is, see how this one's on 13 and then this one's on 13? That's not actually what would happen. This would be delayed. It would drag. It would have more follow through. So you want to do is I'm going to take this one and bring this one, do it all the way to here. I'm going to bring this one back, let's say 1, 2. Oops. Come on. Maybe even go a little bit more. Yeah, and why don't we do a little bit more just to make it a little more obvious? It's not necessarily more correct, but... And what we want to do also is... So I want this arm to be kind of straight. If you look, it's bending forward this entire time. I don't want it to bend forward until after or just before it starts to come back. So I'm going to do... I don't want to copy just this because that's going to make it look stiff. So I'm going to go a couple after. I'm going to say 3 here. I'm going to middle mouse button click. So I'm copying basically 3. And I'm going to have that happen to, let's say, 12. So now, what was 1 to 3 is now all the way from 1 to 12. And then it's going to bend and come back. Now watch. So now there's almost like a little bit more of a follow through. It looks like it's kind of dragging a little bit. And then, let me see something. And maybe this one we'll just do a little bit more too. So that it's okay, and you would just do that on the other side as well, just to make it a little bit more pendulum-like. Okay, so those are some things that you could do. Yeah. All right.